Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Queensland Pickleball Championships. My name is Dylan Kimlin, and we are live from the Morayfield Sports and Events Centre. Oof, we've started with the body immediately. We are currently watching the 70-plus men's division for the 3.5 to 3.9 skinny singles gold medal between two Sunny Coast legends. We've got Gary and Ken going head-to-head. Now, skinny singles, for players that haven't played it, is, first of all, very fun. And you'll notice the gentlemen are playing in particular sides of the court. Not to be mixed up by mini skin singles, which is where the players will only stay on one half of the court. Skinny singles is relevant to your score, and you can only hit to that side of the court of your current score. So that ball goes long. We are just using the traditional scoring format, no rally scoring or anything like that. So currently it's 0-3. So this is a really good game to learn if you're still figuring out scoring. This is a really good way to learn about the scoring system. That ball goes out. So see, even though that landed in the court, but it landed on the left side, which Gary Peterson was not on the left side, that means it's technically out. So right now, Gary and Ken have to play on the right side of the court. That's a nice drive. Gary Peterson will now move to the left side of the court because he is on 4, which is an even number. I'll explain the even and odd sides of the court soon. But as a result, Gary and Ken will now play diagonal pickleball, so they can only hit it on the diagonal sides of the court. Got a serving fault called by our official. Solomons will get the ball back. And as a result, now it's still 0-4, but they're still playing diagonal until Ken wins a point, which he just did. So Solomons will now go to 1-4, and he will move to what we call as the odd side of the court. So he will now play on the left. So now Solomons and Peterson will now play purely the left side of the court. Lob is long. But there's a side out once more. Now, as the score is still 4-1, Gary and Ken will now play the same as before. However, this time, Gary's the one serving on the left side of the court. Yeah, nice drive. Once again, Gary gets another point. So Peterson will now be on the right side of the court, serving diagonal to the left. It's awesome to see these two fellas battle it out. I know they've had many duels in the past. I've had the pleasure of versing both of them down at Mooloolaba. Oh, good firefight. Peterson wins that one, moves to 6-1. This will be 3 games to 11, win by 2, by the way. Utilising the Franklin indoor balls too. And we have a timeout here on the side of Solomons. So regarding timeouts, each player gets 2 timeouts per game and 1 medical timeout per match. So for our tennis fans watching, it's a little bit different to how you would call a game and a match and a set. We don't really have sets in pickleball. We just refer to them as games. But what we would refer to as a set is a game, and then a match is the entirety of the match. So a match is still the same. It's currently 6-7-1. And I know that because Gary's moving to the odd side of the court, so he must be on an odd number. As Solomons is on an odd number, he must move to the odd side, which is left for both players. Serving error. And what this means, so we all start a game on 0, correct? So we start 0-0. 0 is referred to as an even number. So because Solomon's just got another point, he moves to 2-7. 2 is referred to as an even number. So he would be on the same side of the court as he would be if he was on 0, which is on the right. It's a bit, I understand if you're watching at home and you have no idea what I'm talking about. It is a little bit confusing at first, but once you understand the even and the odd sides of the court, scoring becomes significantly easier. Nice drive. The net roll catching Solomon's off guard there. Nice day here at Morayfield currently. We've got a really good turnout too. I've been wandering around and yarning with everyone as much as I can. So what we do find typically with the skinny singles play style too is players will either love it or hate it. That's what I've seen anyway. At Redcliffe, the venue that I'm director of, because we've got one game here on the side of Peterson, so he will take game 1. What we find is players that typically prefer playing singles play style, don't necessarily like skinny singles. And the reason being is that skinny singles is referred to as, if you want to practice your doubles game, you play skinny singles because you only play on one side of the court, just like you typically do in doubles. So the play style that we typically see for skinny singles is drives at the body, but also slow, deliberate approaches to the net. It's a lot more common in skinnies, whereas singles, right, you drive the ball to make your opposition, get it uncomfortable on the court so you can advance to put it away. Whereas in skinnies, it's a lot more common that you'll see people have a slow, methodical approach to the net because their opposition can only hit it one half of the court. So it's not like they're going to get driven to the other corner of the baseline. So both fellas will start 0-0 once more on the even sides of the court. So they both start on the right side. And now there's a great example of a slow, methodical approach that I was referring to. Solomon's moves to the odd side of the court, so he's on 1-0. And as a result, because he took his time there, Gary obviously had great position at the net. He could keep him back. Great example once more. So even though Peterson has the proper position at the net to keep his opposition back, Solomon's just taking his time, just whittling away. It is a common play style that we see in skinny singles. Oh, inside is good. That particular shot we see a lot more as well in skinny singles, is you can hit behind the player and aim for the corner of the inside of the court. Whereas singles, that's just a normal middle of the court drive, right? Drive's gone long. For anyone at home that wants to get into singles but either A, doesn't have the fitness to play a tournament within the singles format, or B, isn't confident enough yet, or wants to practice, I could not recommend skinny singles enough. It is really fun, works on your skills, but also, we have specialist skinny singles players throughout the state. Geez, Gary can hit the ball hard. Oh, good firefight. Solomon's getting caught awkwardly there, struck out. I versed Gary and Ken, as I mentioned earlier, at KT Academy in Mooloolaba, but I don't know if the camera does it justice with how hard Peterson hits the ball. Now, they have different play styles. I've always thought that Solomons and Stewart, so Barry, Baz, if he's here, probably running around somewhere, they are what I refer to as like old school traditionalist pickleball. They love a drop, third shot drop. You know, they take, obviously drive when appropriate, but they play pickleball the old school way. Whereas Gary, definitely a tennis player, loves hitting the ball hard. And it's so fascinating about the sport of pickleball, and that we have all these different play styles come together in a format such as this, which, you know, it just works. We have to keep in mind we are using the indoor balls too for this event. I will be covering games in Redcliffe, Focus Pickleball Redcliffe, in Saturday, Sunday as well, to cover the Opens and 18 plus divisions. Good firefight. Goes wide. Which will use the outdoor balls. So for our viewers that are going to tune in for the entirety of the weekend, I obviously welcome you and hope you're having yourself a wonderful week thus far. But it's very interesting to see the different play styles that's going to come out watching indoors to outdoors. Now, I was the president of the club here at Morayfield, so I know this venue very well. I know how the ball bounces in comparison to the other venue at Redcliffe, which I'm director of pickleball of. It's fair to say, so we have a nice rally breaking out here between the gentlemen. Oh, good hands, what a rally. It's fair to say that I know the differences between the bounces of the venues. So an indoor ball, in my opinion, flies through the air slower. However, it bounces higher. So as a result, we typically see it's a lot more common for driving play within an indoor surface because the ball does bounce higher. So it's, you know, it does... I find it's a bit more fast-paced play because there's more drives, but as a result, because the ball has larger holes on it, the ball flies through the air slower, if that makes sense. Whereas indoor play, the balls bounce lower, but the balls have smaller holes in them. So you'll probably see a lot more drops within a outdoor surface play, especially when you're looking at the open players. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of drives, of course, but due to the fact that the holes in the ball are smaller, the ball flies faster. So it's very interesting to see the two different balls and surfaces this weekend. I think it's a great initiative that PAQ have utilised. Peterson absolutely relentless at the net. He's got wonderful backhand and forehand rolls. I mentioned he obviously comes from a tennis background. You can just see, by the way, he grips the racket. Oh, paddle. Yeah, I'm using racket. Bull, Solomons. Called wide, though. He gets so much topspin on the ball just by those flicks. It's awesome to see. That brings up a tie game, currently 5-5. Keep in mind, if you are just tuning in, Peterson did win game 1. Nice. You will see a lot more bodies in Skinny singles as well. When I say a body or a body bag, when you bag someone, essentially it's when you drive the ball at the person. Obviously not to hurt them, but because in skinnies especially, you've only got so much court to hit on. It's significantly more common because people will just whack the ball at the person and hope that they get jammed up. Great example right there. Case in point. So Peterson had the forehand drive opportunity straight towards the belly of Solomons, who got caught out. As a result, forced the error, wins the point. Peterson's on a bit of a roll here. We saw Ken Solomons have a really strong start for this game too. Woohoo, fellas. Man, I was speaking to one of the gentlemen today from Salming, one of the sponsors for PAQ and the official shoe of PAA. And we were talking about the seniors divisions here today. And I said, age is irrelevant in pickleball. You know, how often do we see players in the 50s, 60s divisions playing professionally, both domestically and overseas, as we have a timeout here on the side of Solomons. These fellas are absolutely tearing it up. This is the 70-plus division, and they're having volley battles that you would expect to see from our open players. It's just such an amazing sport in that regard that it doesn't matter how long you've been playing or how experienced you are, but the players will all play at such a high level. Especially these two gentlemen in particular. They've been playing for quite a long time. They know the ins and outs of the sport very well. Ooh, he went for it. I mentioned earlier that inside shot. You can just kiss the corner of the inside of the court. And Solomons is on. Peterson saw it, but couldn't land it. And vice versa, Solomon tried going for the lob on that corner too. If you land it, it's almost like an ATP in skinny singles, aiming for that corner. I think we have a ball on court here. The gentleman will replay. Yep. He went for it again. Aiming for that corner, like once you get it down pat, it's a very difficult shot to pull it off. But also very difficult to defend because you let it go thinking it's going out. Not the case. Two backhand driving errors from the gentleman. The ball goes back to Peterson. Keep in mind, viewers, if you are tuning in, all of the footage this weekend will be available on the Pickleball Queensland Facebook page and the PAA, so it's Pickleball Association Australia YouTube channel. If you are hopping on YouTube, remember to go to the live events tab, to which you can watch all of the footage for the tournaments that I've covered this year, but also for all of the Queensland Pickleball Championships tournaments. Smash called long. Fellas are just figuring out where they're going to be on the court. 6-9. Drive called wide. Oh, the net roll. So one thing that's very common within skinny singles that I've recognised, because we play it quite a lot at Focus Pickleball Redcliffe within our Belvedere Blast League, I think the majority of points are won off of the return error So serving can definitely be a benefit within. Oh, Gary had it. That was a gold medal point. Had a chance to put it away. But most people make errors on the return. So we'll see if Solomons has a good serve here. Peterson could attack it. Dink to the wide side. Is good. 3-point game. Ooh, okay. A little bit of momentum here for Ken. I thought Ken did really well there, Solomons. Several solid defensive efforts. Peterson just so strong at the net, however. Forcing the error. Match point. Not today, says Ken. Gets it back. Oh, no. Service error. Especially while defending a gold medal point. Pressure does funny things in pickleball. Yep. Solid net presence, one more, keeping it down at the feet. And that'll do it. Gary too strong in the end, taking the gold. Solomons will take home the silver. Thank you to both gentlemen for tearing it up on our courts and getting our broadcast started. Thank you to our official for calling this game. And as always, thank you for tuning in and watching. This is Dylan Kimlin live from the Morayfield Sports and Events Centre covering the 2024 Queensland Pickleball Championships. We will leave the broadcast going. We have plenty of action for you throughout the day. I will be broadcasting pretty much from now onwards until late afternoon. So whether you're having a cruisy Thursday afternoon at work, you can hop on in, chuck the stream up wherever you're watching and watch all of our players tear it up. But if not, just jump in when you're available. If you do want to catch the footage, as I mentioned earlier, you can catch it on the Pickleball Queensland Facebook page and the Pickleball Australia YouTube channel. Highly recommend giving both of them a follow. Our state and national bodies do such a great job in promoting our wonderful sport. But we'll mute the stream for now, ladies and gentlemen. Peterson taking the gold in that skinny singles format. We'll find out who our next set of games are, and we'll be back ready to go when our players are up on court. Thank you. Okay, never mind. Dylan back here. I've just been told there's a little bit of a delay, so I might close down the stream for now. I will reopen it in these exact same spots that you're currently watching in a matter of minutes. Well, whenever our players are back on court. And we'll go live from there. There's just the fellas are hopping on. Oh, no, they're going on the other court. That's okay. We'll be back live and as soon as our next game is ready to go. But, yeah, hop onto the PAQ Facebook page and PAA YouTube channel. We'll be back live as soon as our game is ready to go. Thank you and see you then. Bye.